And next up, we've got Cecilia Huergo, and she is Product Manager, SAP Business Technology Platform at SAP. So Cecilia is part of the central product management team for SAP Business Technology Platform, focusing on application development and integration capabilities. As a senior product specialist, she helps customers and partners understand the value of SAP Business Technology Platform and the platform's strategic direction. But today, Cecilia will be explaining how the SAP Integration Suite and SAP Extension Suite help bridge the gap between business and technology to help clients meet critical business needs and build differentiating solutions. Welcome, Cecilia.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so thank you, Innocent, for that great introduction. I am very happy to be here today talking to you about SAP Business Technology Platform. I'm really excited and I want to get into the topics right away. But I do want to mention beforehand that in order to make this as interactive as possible, I would like you and encourage you to ask questions during my presentation. So just type those questions in the chat, and I'll be kind of looking back and forth throughout the presentation to see if I can answer some questions right away. And that way I can focus more on the topics that you're interested in and make sure that we can get as many questions in as possible. Of course, at the end, I have a designated slot for questions, so don't worry if you come up with a question at the end. I'll be sure to answer that as well. All right, so let's get started.
Cecilia, sorry, I think you're on mute.
All right, thank you. So everybody can hear me now. All right, sorry about that. All right, so as I was mentioning before we deep dive into the specific capabilities of the platform, I wanted to take a moment and set everything into context. So I'm sure you're already familiar with the Intelligent Enterprise strategy and how at SAP we strive to help our customers achieve that journey. And the Intelligent Enterprise is basically, it's comprised of various different levels, but basically the main goal is that you're going to have an integrated enterprise that connects various different business processes across your organization, so across the different applications, across the different systems, to be able to give your end users, your customers, your employees the best experience possible and the access to the relevant data that they need to be able to carry on their business. And SAP BTP is a foundational part of that, because with BTP, you're going to be able to extend, enhance, and also integrate your applications, your data layer, your systems, your processes, and your people across across your enterprise. And that applies not just for your SAP applications, but also for non-SAP applications as well. And as you can see on the slide, we generally talk about 4 main market segments when we discuss SAP BTP. So of course, you're going to be able to manage and store your data. So we have, for example, SAP HANA Cloud within the database and data management segment. You're going to be able to visualize that data and be able to take actions and analyze that data with SAP Analytics Cloud in the analytics segment. You're also going to be able to incorporate intelligent technologies like, for example, intelligent robotic process automation or SAP conversational AI to give you that extra edge when it comes to machine learning and AI technologies. And you're also going to be able to integrate and extend using the capabilities provided by the SAP Integration Suite and SAP Extension Suite. But the real value of the platform doesn't lie in these individual segments. It lies in combining all these capabilities together. So again, creating a new UI, for example, for an existing SAP solution, you're going to be leveraging capabilities from the Extension Suite, but you also might use SAP HANA Cloud as your database layer, and you also might incorporate SAP Conversational AI, for example, to add a chatbot so that your users can engage or can easily extract the information that they need by asking questions directly. So the main kind of takeaway that I want you to have from this slide is really SAP BTP is one platform, and it comprises all these various different segments, and it supports different use cases, but the value is in being able to connect those all those various different capabilities together into one. Okay. So if we go into Integration Suite and Extension Suite, specifically, the main capabilities of, for example, the Integration Suite is that, again, you're not going to be able to connect just your SAP systems together, you're also going to be able to connect non-SAP systems. And we know our customers have already implemented, for example, on-premise applications. So SAP Integration Suite is for your hybrid landscapes as well. It provides integration packages, APIs, prepackaged content for you to connect SAP to non-SAP applications, as well as on-prem to cloud applications. And we continuously enhance the standard packages that we provide. Everything is available on the API Business Hub. So you just go to api.sap.com. You'll be able to see all the API content and all the events content and everything that we provide from SAP, but also that our partners provide. So again, you're leveraging the concept of our ecosystem and being able to take advantage of all the innovations and the specific maybe LOB or industry-specific content that our partners provide as well. With the extension suite, what we try to provide is various different services, tools, and recommendations and best practices that you can use to enhance, extend, or add new features and new capabilities to your standard solutions. So of course, if you already have implemented the Intelligent Suite, for example, let's say SAP SuccessFactors, SAP Ariba, or if you have SAP S/4HANA, there are various different capabilities that come out of the box that come standard with those solutions, and you're going to be able to leverage them by just implementing that in your landscape. But we also know that our customers have specific requirements, maybe business-specific things, or market demands that they need to react to quickly. And that's where the extension suite comes in. It gives you the possibility to develop those in a side-by-side model, which we'll talk about in just a few slides, to enhance those, or to add those features, or to enhance a specific business process, or to optimize a business process to fit your needs, your specific needs that aren't covered by the standard application. And again, both these suites are optimized for the SAP landscape. It's what we use internally as well. That's also an important thing to mention. SAP BTP is where our product teams develop and innovate for their applications. It's also what we recommend our partners to use. So all the applications and the extensions that they develop are on the platform as well. And that also makes it easier for you to be able to consume them. All right. So I see there's already a question from Gilson Muvla. He says, is SAP Business Platform the same as SLT? So you're going to have to help me with what SLT means. I haven't seen that acronym before, but the SAP Business Technology Platform is basically our platform as a service offering. So it's the platform that we provide for our customers to be able to develop extensions and integrate their solutions. So I'm not really sure what SLT is, but if I don't figure it out by the end of the session, I'll make sure to double check internally and then probably get back with an answer. But yeah, just to clarify, SAP Business Technology Platform is again our platform as a service offering where you can develop, where you can integrate your existing SAP solutions. And you might also be familiar with SAP Cloud Platform. That name is no longer in use, but the capabilities of SAP Cloud Platform are what we now call, or what are now comprised under the SAP Integration Suite and the SAP Extension Suite. So I hope that kind of sets that into context. All right, so before we deep dive into the Integration Suite and Extension Suite, I just wanted to give you an example of how our customers can benefit from implementing our solutions across the board. So in this customer example, Danone, they wanted to improve their capital expenditure approval process. And basically what happened is they had a very manual, primarily email-based capital expenditure approval process, which meant that it was not only inflexible, so it was very difficult to change because it wasn't a digital process. They had to kind of get into various different systems, retrieve data from various different systems. They were relying primarily on email approvals. So again, digging into your inbox, finding the information, then going to maybe another system to confirm if everything was correct. It was a very manual, tedious process for everybody involved. And it also didn't give them reporting capabilities or transparency into the process. when everything relies solely on email or kind of manual processes or digging things up from various systems, you don't have one view over the entire process. So it's very difficult to understand, especially in an international organization, where you're at with this specific. So how many approvals were in place? How many were pending? How many were urgent? How much money was being spent? What was the outcome of this process? This is all information that would have been helpful for them to, improve that process in the future or get visibility into their KPIs, but it wasn't easily available. So what they did is they used the SAP Business Technology Platform, primarily the SAP Extension Suite, along with SAP HANA Cloud and some intelligent technologies, to build a digital streamlined capital expenditure approval process. So they leverage capabilities like, for example, workflow management, intelligent robotic process automation, conversational AI, and of course, our digital experience portfolio. And they created this digital end-to-end process where, again, it wasn't based on a manual setup. It wasn't based on emails, and it was one single process and one application that all the users had to go into to be able to complete the various different steps. And of course, depending on the role that the user had, they would see different parts of the process, or they would have various different tasks that they needed to complete. Like, for example, the executives, the approvers would have to go in and approve that process for it to actually go into effect, or approve the request, sorry. And what also was interesting is they wanted to give their executives kind of an easy way to complete that approval. So they also created a mobile application using, for example, SAP Mobile Services. So when the executives had a task that they needed to, a request that they needed to approve, they got notified directly on their mobile application, and they could approve it on the spot in the mobile application. So they didn't have to rely on an email. They didn't have to go into a different system. They didn't have to rely on their secretaries reminding them. They could just go into the mobile application and approve that directly. So again, that made the process a lot more seamless, the process a lot easier to follow. Everybody got visibility because, again, across the entire organization, they were using the same digital workflow. They were using the same process to complete the capital expenditure requests. And it also gave them visibility and tracking capabilities by leveraging, for example, SAC, so SAP Analytics Cloud. So they were able to see how many requests were coming in, how many were approved, how many were still pending. They were able to prioritize. They were able to, filter in terms of the request amount. So how much were they investing? How much were they leveraging in these various different requests? And I think the two numbers that you see here on the screen are very relevant because, again, it was something that they went from kind of manual, disparate, separate processes within the organization to just one flow that they could use across the board. And it also meant that 100% of those requests were going through the same system. So a lot easier to change or modify when you need to make an update because you have just one process, so one single source of truth, and then you can just modify that. All right. SAP landscape transformation. Okay, to transition data from SAP ERP or non-SAP to central finance. Right. So that's probably a specific solution for SAP ERP. The SAP Business Technology Platform, again, is the platform as a service offering that we offer to extend all SAP solutions. So of course you can extend your on-premise systems, you can extend cloud applications, and we'll see that in just a few slides when I show kind of the extensibility framework for the SAP Business Technology Platform. So thank you for that question. All right. Okay, so now that we understand how our customers can leverage kind of the capabilities of the platform in general, let's kind of look at the two main components of the application development and integration capability with the SAP Integration Suite and then the SAP Extension Suite. So like I mentioned, our integration suite is our integration platform for the intelligent enterprise. So it's also, again, what we use internally and what we might recommend that our customers use externally. There are various different components that will help you in your integration journey. Some of the major components are, for example, cloud integration, which is to integrate your end-to-end processes. Again, you'll find all our standard integration packages on the API Business Hub. And one of the main benefits of that is, again, these are standard packages that are provided by SAP, so you don't have to build everything from scratch. You can just leverage the content that we provide, so that saves you time. but it also lowers your TCO because the standard integration packages are things that we update. So again, when there are changes or modifications, you can just leverage the upgrades directly, and you don't have to go in and modify them step by step. And this is also very important when it comes to, for example, business to government implementation. So we have integration content that is specific for tax regulations, for tax agencies, in which you can use that to kind of generate the forms that you need in precisely the right manner to be able to submit to those government agencies. And we have those, for example, for various different countries. When those countries change the so the form regulations, when something needs to be updated, again, that's managed by us, that's managed by SAP. So you don't have to go in and make sure that's updated to stay compliant, but as long as you're using our standard integration content, you can use that directly and leverage that directly. Another important component is open connectors, because with open connectors, you can integrate to non-SAP applications as well. So of course, if you see on the left-hand side, we have the Intelligent Suite with all the SAP applications, and that integration content is provided on the API Business Hub with cloud integration. But open connectors gives you these specific connectors to third-party applications. So you can connect, for example, to Salesforce. You can connect to Twitter. You can connect to Microsoft Office applications, like for example Teams, Instagram. There are about 160 to 170 connectors right now, but we are always continuously adding connectors. And this is again where we work very closely with our partners. So it's not just that you're leveraging the innovations and the content that SAP provides. Again, you're leveraging our whole ecosystem, and you can use those directly. Another example that I wanted to provide is how we implement machine learning or artificial intelligence within our solutions as well. So an important component of Integration Suite is, for example, the Integration Advisor. The Integration Advisor will give you recommendations based on past integration strategies, past integration flows of previous customers for your specific journey, and will recommend your integration flow and what you can implement directly. Now, we have seen that this can reduce the actual time that an integration project lasts by about 60%. Because again, you don't have to start from scratch. You can leverage the information that the integration advisor tells you, like what's the recommended approach, and then leverage, for example, the standard content that we have on the API Business Hub and complete your integration journey directly. And again, another important aspect that applies for the platform as a whole, we have a multi-cloud first strategy, which we'll talk about also in the next couple of slides. But that basically means that we not only run on SAP data centers, but we also run on hyperscaler data centers. So for example, AWS, Microsoft Azure, because we want our customers to leverage the infrastructure and the hyperscaler innovations in terms of infrastructure as a service, while we can focus really on the layer on top, on the platform as a service offering, and provide more specific business content and standardized integration packages, for example, or enhance our integration advisor with more learnings and more recommendations, so that you can focus on your specific business relevant content, your differentiators, and not have to worry about those standard things. Okay. All right, so I have another question from Zara Majet. So what is the security around the app? Does it have two-factor authentication? Very good question. So for the SAP Business Technology Platform, we also provide cloud identity services. So we have security services in place that you can leverage, and you can use, for example, the identity authentication service, and you can use the identity provisioning service. So again, you can implement those throughout your applications to have things like, for example, SSO, and to be able to provision your users from SuccessFactors to S4HANA to the customer experience to Ariba, all using the SAP BTP. So the secure, and of course, we also have recommendations. You can find kind of the standard approach on the help portal, so in our help documentation, and you can leverage that using the security services on the platform. Okay. So this is just kind of a key or a summary of the key features of the SAP Integration Suite. I think I covered most of them from the previous slide, but again, leveraging the out-of-box integration packages and integration content will save you a lot of time and will also help you leverage the best practices that we provide from SAP. You can connect to third-party integration content using the Open Connector. It's not just cloud to cloud, it's also cloud to on-prem, so suitable for your hybrid landscapes. We do focus on security. So again, this applies to the question that I just answered. We have support for multiple authentications using also the cloud identity services provided on the platform. This is also suitable for not just A to A or B2B scenarios or B2C scenarios, but also B2G, so business to government, so you can comply with government regulations. And we incorporate also machine learning and AI technologies, for example, through the Integration Advisor, so you can leverage those capabilities as well. Okay. All right, so now we move on to the second important topic of the day, which is all around our extensibility framework with BTP. So like I mentioned, SAP Business Technology Platform is the platform that we recommend to extend your SAP applications. It's also the platform that we use for extensions, and it's also the platform that our partners use to build extensions. There are two main frameworks that you can think about when we're doing extensions. So on the left-hand side, you have the in-app extensibility. Usually our SAP solutions like SAP S/4HANA, like SuccessFactors, provide in-app extensibility options, which are minor changes that you can make to the software, like for example, creating new analytics reports or creating a form or changing a UI field. These are minor changes that you can make within the app itself, and it usually doesn't rely on the IT department to do these changes, but it's either a key user or a business user that has a specific admin rights, a specific authentications to be able to make that change. When we talk about SAP Business Technology Platform and the extension suite, we're talking about a side-by-side extensibility concept. So I'm sure you've heard about this before, but our main goal right now, with especially moving to the cloud, is being able to keep the core cleaned. So not doing the custom classical extensibility options that are in the application itself and changing the source code of the application, but really having that application sit on the platform so that you don't disrupt your running business processes and you can continue to benefit from the upgrades and the innovations that we provide to the SAP standard solutions. You would be building the extension in a side-by-side manner. You would have, of course, secure connectivity. So again, this goes back to the question around security, where you're going to be able to connect securely to your existing SAP solutions, leveraging the prepackaged content that we have in the integration suite as well. And you're going to be able to make changes or extensions that have a wider scope, let's say. So for example, creating a mobile application like we saw in the example for Danone, or optimizing creating a new digital CapEx spendable approval process. So creating either digitizing your business process or automating your business process, or maybe optimizing it by removing certain steps that aren't necessary for your application. This is where you can incorporate, again, machine learning and AI capabilities and really innovate across your landscape. And that all sits in BTP, so in SAP Business Technology Platform, and you can leverage the capabilities that we'll see around the extension suite to be able to do that. Now, when we're talking about the extension suite, we've tried to divide it into three main pillars because the extension suite comprises a lot. It comprises various different services, various different capabilities, various different tools, and they're also focused on specific outcomes. So for example, you have the digital experience pillar. This is where you'll find mobile services or Launchpad service or SAP Fury and WorkZone to be able to really customize and create a single entry point for your end users, where they'll be able to access all the various different applications that they have, or also create a new mobile experience so that they can access information on the go. There are various cases, various customer examples in which we have, you might have field people, you might have salespeople that are not usually in the office, they're constantly on the go. So it's very useful for them to have a mobile application that they can access offline as well, to be able to either find information on their customers, find information on orders, or also be able to submit information from engagements that they've had with customers, and not have to do that when they go back into the office, or when they find a space to actually open their laptop and get into the web application. So all these capabilities around a digital experience are, again, about optimizing the experience for your end users and really being able to create something that will help them complete their business on a day-to-day basis and make it easier for them to do their jobs. Digital process automation, again, going back to the Danone example, workflow management, IRPA, the process mining or live process content. This is all about moving from manual, error-prone processes into digital workflows, being able to automate certain steps of the process that don't really need human interaction. So you can create little chatbots that will complete certain steps of the process, again, to optimize that and not have actual human people spend time on things that aren't as relevant, where they can really be focusing on business relevant tasks. And then the last pillar would be around development efficiency. So these are all the tools, the applications, the services that we provide that make it easier or create agility in developing applications. So for example, the Business Application Studio is the next generation SAP Web IDE, where you can find, for example, templates to build specific SAP extensions like UI, so SAP Fury templates or SAP HANA templates, or specific workflows. You're going to have the workflow editor incorporated into Business Application Studio, so you can rearrange the steps in a specific workflow, or adapt or add new steps or remove steps as required. We're also continuously enhancing kind of the low code and no code capabilities to be able to encourage. Again, I think one of the concepts at the beginning was really being able to bridge the gap between business and technology. And through our low code and no code capabilities, we're trying to empower business users or key users to be able to do certain things, certain minor extensions, so that not everything relies on IT, and we can free up IT to be able to do those major extensions and those pro code projects that really need a lot of IT and development investment. And then, of course, we provide various different runtimes and programming models that you can leverage, and also some DevOps services. So, it's not just about building the application and releasing it. It's also about the operation process of being able to monitor and understand how that application is working. And again, you'll see that everything is built on a multi-cloud foundation, so leveraging the hyperscaler infrastructure, but really the business content and the business services provided by SAP on top. All right. So let's see, I see another question. Okay, so this one is a bit of a long one, so I think I'll take it at the end, so that yeah, because I have to read through a lot of lines. So I'll take that question at the end, but Manny, don't worry, I will answer your question. Let's just get through a few more slides first. All right. So again, in summary, the SAP Extension Suite is what we provide for you to build side-by-side extensions without touching the core application. So you can really keep the core clean and deliver innovation in a side-by-side fashion. We provide out-of-the-box accelerators, out-of-the-box content, and no-code, low-code capabilities to really bridge that gap between IT and technology. It's optimized for the SAP landscape. So you're going to notice that we'll have specific support, for example, for SAP HANA Cloud, like I mentioned, within Business Application Studio. And it fully complements the SAP Integration Suite. So if you remember that the extensibility framework slide where we had the in-app extensibility and the side-by-side extensibility option, in between was always the Integration Suite, because that's really how you can connect your SAP solutions to the extension that you're building. And just kind of to give you an idea of where we are in terms of analyst ratings, we were considered leaders in various different quadrants last year, and we are continuously working to be able to keep that trend up. So the SAP Integration Suite, Data Intelligence, and Extension Suite were all considered leaders in their various different quadrants. Now, I also promised that we were going to talk about multi-cloud. And I mentioned this throughout the presentation, but we decided to go with a multi-cloud first approach and really rely on the hyperscaler infrastructure and the innovations that the hyperscalers were making in the data centers and in leveraging in that to be able to focus on what SAP, on the differentiator for SAP and what we can really provide for our customers, which is really leveraging our business know-how, the understanding of business processes, how the SAP landscape connects together to be able to provide a platform that will make it easier for you to integrate and connect your applications and also extend them for future enhancements. And where we see the main benefits of our multi-cloud strategy is really, again, the reliability, because you're going to be leveraging the hyperscaler infrastructure and all the investments that they make while having the SAP Business Technology Platform on top as that abstraction layer, so your applications will run regardless of the underlying infrastructure. It gives you agility because you no longer need developers or IT organizations that solely know SAP. You can also leverage the newest cloud native or open source capabilities, so you can develop cloud native applications on BTP and still use them to extend your SAP solutions. But of course, we do provide support for ABAP specific development. So we have, for example, the ABAP environment on BTP that will help you transform basically transform your existing ABAP on-prem assets into the cloud. And last but not least, flexibility. By leveraging hyperscaler infrastructure, we have a broader reach. So we are able to be where the hyperscalers are, and that means that we'll be able to deliver our services in more locations, and our customers will be able to benefit from the flexibility of choosing the location that benefits them the most. And that's the goal with SAP BTP in general, to be able to provide it in more regions and have a broader reach throughout various different hyperscalers. All right. Okay. I also wanted to briefly share the SAP Discovery Center because, again, I talked a lot about the capabilities of BTP and what you can do with BTP and how our customers use it. But in the end, you're also going to want to find out more content. You're going to want to find information that's maybe specific to your business requirements, specific to your use case, and you can use that leveraging the SAP Discovery Center. So what this is basically a huge catalog of, on the one hand side, missions. And missions are basically use cases. So they're step-by-step examples of how you can perform a specific use case, like, for example, extending SAP S/4HANA, or like the example that you see here, the capital expenditure approval process. So you'll see exactly the steps that you need to complete in order to create such an approval process using, for example, as a basis, the workflow management service. And this comes with it includes, for example, the services that you need to have enabled. It includes the steps that you need to take to configure them, and it includes how to connect to your backend systems. It includes best practices and recommendations on how we recommend for you to build this extension of this application. But it also has specific community support and expert support. So when you start a mission, you're going to find that you have at least 2 coaches that are assigned to that mission. And if you have an issue implementing that scenario, implementing that use case, you're going to be able to contact that coach directly, and they'll be able to help you through the specific steps. And on the other side, also on Discovery Center, we have our service catalog. And this is our portfolio of all the services that we provide on BTP. So you're going to find all the information, all the features of all the specific services. You're going to find information on where those services are available, so on which hyperscalers and which regions. You're going to find pricing information. Is it available under subscription? Is it available under CPA? You're going to find details on how to configure or use that service, so all the relevant links to the help portal documentation, to tutorials, to the SAP community pages, where you can find also kind of forums, blogs, and Q&A to be able to engage with our community. And also a recent kind of innovation that we made is including a roadmap tab. So you're going to be able to see on a specific service level the roadmap of the recent innovations and planned innovations for that specific service. So everything, again, is available on the Discovery Center. That is it's an open website. You can log in. So, for example, to start a mission and actually see all the content and be able to complete the steps, you would log in. But if not, you can stay just in the public unlogged view and find all the content information available there. Okay. And then just this slide is to give you an idea of the various different components within the roadmap. So of course, you can just go to roadmaps.sap.com and search for SAP Business Technology Platform, and you'll see all the content, all the information that we have available. But here I've provided some specific links to kind of the pillars or the components within BTP that you might want to focus on. So for example, you have a direct link to the integration suite roadmap, you have a direct link to the business process improvement roadmap, to the security roadmap. So these are just kind of direct filtered links that will just simplify the process for you if you're looking for roadmap information. And again, just these are more resources that you can check out later when you have time. So the direct link to the Roadmap Explorer, direct link to the Discovery Center to find your mission, also direct link to the service catalog so you can find all the service information. And of course, if you want to try out BTP, use our trial environment, you can go to sap.com and register for the trial for free so you can check out the capabilities of BTP and kind of get to know and get hands-on experience of what you can do with the platform without having to do that in your productive landscape. All right, so now it's time for the Q&A, and I think I have about 10 minutes, so let me see if I can get into this long question. So Manny Stein is asking, in the new hybrid world, there is easily manageable dividing line integration middleware between an SAP cloud system and a non-SAP cloud or on-prem system. But the line between SAP cloud and SAP on-prem is not that defined. The native dependencies integration make it very difficult to manage these two speeds. How are we to manage this? As example, cloud get an update every 2 weeks on-prem, maybe every 6 months or even once a year. And OSS nodes don't cover it. Okay, so that's a great question. What we've done in terms of simplifying that for our end users and for our customers is, for example, we have harmonized the major upgrade windows that we have for our software, so SAP-wide. That means that not only the cloud solutions and BTP in particular for the platform, but also other cloud solutions like SuccessFactors, Ariba, et cetera, we have a standardized harmonized major upgrade window so that we can reduce the amount of planned downtimes that our customers have, but also kind of fit all the upgrades into one calendar window. Of course, in the cloud world, like on BTP, we do upgrade every 2 weeks, but that's also why we provide the what's new in the release notes also every 2 weeks, so you can see exactly what's changing and what's happening. And of course, we have quality processes and a release management process in place to make sure that the features and the innovations that we release are compatible and compliant with anything that exists before. So those are just kind of some of the examples that I can think of that will try to bridge that gap until we hit, you know, let's say a fully cloud world in the future. So I hope that answers your question. All right, so I don't know if we have any other questions, Innocent, or?
Hi there. I think that has covered them all. Thank you so much for that. Was a lot of information that you quite successfully fitted in there for us. You were talking about hyperlinks available in your documentation. Does that mean that the deck will be made available?
Yeah, the deck will be made available. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, Cecilia, I don't think that we have any more questions. I'd like to thank you for your time. And I don't know, do you want to help me choose? Who do you think was the best question? I think Marnie did quite a good job there.
Yeah, so I think all the questions were excellent. Manny definitely made me read a lot, so kudos, kudos to Manny. But yeah, all the questions were excellent. And again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any other specific questions around SAP BTP, the integration suite and extension suite. The deck will be made available, but you can also find all the content that I explained on sap.com as well on our product page. So I hope you enjoyed this session and looking forward to next time.